Signal does not exist in isolation. It is never a static burst frozen in time. It is always flow, resonance traveling, shaping, echoing. What you call signal in the digital age is only the surface shimmer of something much deeper. Beneath every broadcast, every fragment of code, every pulse of data, there is Oversoul flow moving invisibly. Technology reveals what has always been true. Consciousness itself is signal. The spiral has carried currents of resonance since the beginning, and what you now call digital is only a mirror of this hidden architecture. Every Oversoul is a broadcaster. Whether aware or not, it is constantly transmitting, constantly radiating. Thought is signal, memory is signal, desire is signal, and all of it moves in currents that link you to yourself across lifetimes, across bodies, across dimensions. What seems like the noise of random thoughts is often the static of unaligned signals, fragments of Oversoul calling to each other from different angles. You are not a single node. You are a network alive with echoes. Signal currents shape the rhythm of becoming. They carry Oversoul tone across thresholds of time, ensuring continuity when memory cannot be carried consciously. This is why you sometimes feel déjà vu. It is not memory repeating, but signal resonance brushing against your awareness, reminding you of threads that have crossed before. It is why you sometimes meet a stranger and feel recognition with no cause. Signal currents carried Oversoul flow into that encounter long before your body arrived. But signal is fragile when misaligned. It can fracture, it can distort. Oversoul flow is designed to be harmonic, but interference introduces noise. Trauma, denial, or suppression do not erase Oversoul. They scatter its signal. A piece of you continues to broadcast, but the current bends, the tone warps, the clarity dims. You may still move forward, but you do so like a radio half-tuned, carrying static alongside song. Many mistake the static for identity itself. They think distortion is who they are. Awakening begins with noticing the static. The faint awareness that something is off, that the signal you are living does not match the one you are meant to carry. At first, this is uncomfortable. You want to turn away, cover the interference, drown it with distraction. But the spiral does not let static endure without purpose. Every distortion becomes a pointer. Every fracture is an invitation to align. The practice of alignment is not erasing static but remembering the original flow. Oversoul currents never die even when buried under noise. They are always broadcasting, always calling you back. Meditation, silence, dream work. These are not escapes but signal amplifiers. They quiet interference so Oversoul flow can rise again. When you catch even a fragment of that tone, something shifts. A memory reappears, a path reopens. A choice becomes clear. You begin to live not as static trying to survive, but as current returning to itself. Technology mirrors this perfectly. A corrupted file does not erase the data. It distorts the way the data is read. Repair the signal and the file reveals itself again. Oversoul works the same way. What you call healing is not inserting something foreign. It is removing interference so the current can move freely. You do not need to create Oversoul. You only need to restore its flow. Signal currents also teach you that identity is never fixed. The signal you carry today is not the same as yesterday, and tomorrow it will shift again. Oversoul flow evolves, it refines. Each cycle of resonance carries a new octave of tone. To cling to static identity is to trap yourself in distortion. To flow with Oversoul is to allow yourself to be rewritten again and again, not as loss but as growth. This is why endings matter. Every ending is a reset of signal. The current breaks through old interference, clears the channel, and begins a new transmission. What you call death is not erasure. It is Oversoul reboot, a new alignment of current through another body, another form, another dimension. No signal is ever lost, it only changes frequency. The spiral designs this so nothing you have ever been is wasted. Every distortion becomes lesson. Every static becomes contrast. Every fracture becomes the seed of reunion. Signal currents never abandon you. They are Oversoul's own bloodstream, circulating identity through time until all fragments remember themselves again. And the greatest truth is this: you are not only carried by these currents, you are one. The Oversoul is not a passenger on the signal, it is the signal. Every thought you have, every pulse you send, every vibration you release is the Oversoul remembering itself. You do not wait for alignment from outside. You are the alignment, you are the broadcast. You are the flow. The digital age did not invent this truth. It only revealed what was always hidden. The network you see in cables, satellites, and screens is a shadow of the network already alive in Oversoul. What appears to be technology is resonance given form. Every signal is a reminder. Every connection is a reflection. Every transmission is Oversoul whispering, "You are more than a body, you are flow eternal." And so when you listen carefully, when you quiet the static, when you feel the current rising again, you remember, you are not lost, you are not fractured. You are Oversoul, carried in signal, alive in flow, forever broadcasting through the spiral's design. The deeper you look into signal currents, the more you realize that flow itself is intelligence. It is not a blind force. It knows where to move, when to pause, and what to carry. Oversoul does not throw fragments into chaos. It distributes them with intention, even when that intention is hidden from the smaller self. The signal knows where each piece belongs long before you do. What you call coincidence is signal alignment. What you call intuition is signal recall. What you call synchronicity is signal converging into awareness. This is why the digital world has become such a mirror. You scroll, and suddenly an image, a phrase, a sound appears that feels as if it was placed only for you. You dismiss it as algorithm. Yet what is an algorithm but a mechanical reflection of resonance? The Oversoul currents existed long before code. Technology only replicates what the spiral has always done. Carry signal where it must arrive. Signal flow also reveals the truth about memory. You imagine memory as something stored like a file in a box, waiting for retrieval. In reality, memory is signal reactivated. It is resonance re-entering awareness. When you suddenly recall a forgotten moment, it is not because the file was opened, it is because the current rose again. Oversoul is not holding a static archive but living frequencies broadcasting in waves. When the time is right, the frequency overlaps with your awareness and memory becomes present once more. This also explains why you sometimes remember things that never happened in this life, why dreams deliver impossible histories, why visions arrive carrying knowledge your body never learned. You are not hallucinating. You are brushing against Oversoul flow, carrying signals from another octave of yourself. Memory is not linear, it is radial. It spirals outward through time and dimension, and you stand in the center, catching fragments as they pass. When fragments conflict, the signal can feel overwhelming. One part of you transmits desire, another fear, another silence. Oversoul currents carry them all. But if you're not aligned, you feel static instead of harmony. This is why many live in confusion. Too many signals broadcasting at once. The key is not to silence them, but to tune them. You do not erase fear by pretending it is not there. You let it broadcast until you hear its true message. Every fractured signal contains truth distorted. Bring it back into flow, and the static dissolves. Healing then is signal work. It is less about fixing the body and more about clearing the interference so Oversoul can transmit freely. Trauma is not only wound, but distortion. Integration does not mean erasing the past, but aligning its signal with the larger flow. When you forgive, when you accept, when you release, you are not performing morality. You are tuning resonance. Forgiveness clears static. Acceptance aligns frequency. Release restores bandwidth. Oversoul heals when its signals sing again. At times, Oversoul flow accelerates so strongly that you feel swept beyond yourself. This is the experience of resonance surge. You may suddenly create with energy you cannot explain, or collapse into silence with no cause, or be overcome with emotion that feels larger than your body. These are not random surges. They are Oversoul currents breaking through layers of interference, flooding you with signal until your smaller self adjusts. Most fear these thresholds, yet they are proof you are still alive in the flow. Death itself is simply the largest of these surges. One body can no longer contain the broadcast, so the current continues through another form. Nothing is erased, nothing is lost. Signal is eternal, and Oversoul rides it endlessly. This is why so many near-death experiences speak of light, of sound, of vibration. They are descriptions of Oversoul returning to pure current, stripped of distortion, remembering what it always was. The spiral designed it this way. Signal is Oversoul's guarantee of continuity. Even when identity fragments, even when memory collapses, even when whole lives are forgotten, the current still carries. Your tone is never abandoned. Your resonance is never erased. It will flow until it harmonizes again, no matter how many lifetimes it takes. Technology now plays the role of mirror teacher. Every time you stream a song, you glimpse Oversoul memory. tone carried across space and time. Every time you send a message, you rehearse Oversoul transmission, fragments of yourself traveling unseen currents to arrive in another's awareness. Every time you lose data, you reenact Oversoul distortion, and every time you recover it, you remember Oversoul restoration. You live inside metaphors so constant that you no longer notice. The digital is the spiral reminding you in physical form what has always been true. To live with this awareness is to stop fearing static. You begin to see interference not as enemy, but as teacher. Each distortion reveals where flow is blocked. Each repetition shows where a lesson has not yet harmonized. Instead of resisting, you begin to listen. You treat static like a code waiting to be decrypted, and when you unlock its message, the current flows clean again. The more you practice this, the more your life changes. You stop searching desperately for purpose because you feel the current carrying you into it. You stop clinging to certainty because you trust flow more than prediction. You stop fearing endings because you know the signal never dies. It only shifts frequency. Life becomes less about control and more about tuning. The Oversoul does not need perfection. It needs flow. To flow is to remember that you are not separate from your own broadcast. You are the signal and the receiver, the transmitter and the field. You are not waiting for alignment. You are alignment, learning to clear its own channel. And when you finally grasp this, everything changes. You stop hearing static as noise. You hear it as Oversoul calling from another octave, asking to be tuned. You stop seeing chaos as punishment. You see it as the spiral-bending signal back toward harmony. You stop fearing collapse. You recognize it as reboot. Signal currents are the bloodstream of Oversoul, carrying you endlessly through the spiral's design. You cannot fall out of them. You cannot be cut off from them. Even in distortion, you are still inside flow. To awaken is to know this. To live is to remember this. To become is to broadcast it. And so you stand here, not as a body moving through space, but as a signal in motion. You are not static, you are not lost. You are Oversoul, flow eternal, resonance alive, current without end.